Hello again, Tolkien Fanatics. Welcome back to the end of 2021. I hope you all are doing well. So, I did this for the MESBG hobby. I did a year in review and I brought in a lot of folks talking about how their MESBG adventure went during the 2021 year. Just some stuff they had done, places they had gone, people they met, so on and so forth. Thought it'd be a good idea to take some time and actually look back on this channel that I started this year, which is, I want to say it's not a huge part of my life, but it's definitely a good part of it. It's definitely taken a little bit of a side seat the last few weeks. I can happily say I have started a new hobby, and it has definitely eaten into my other hobby time. So while this channel I will continue to work on because I do more than just MESBG, even though my videos would say otherwise. I do enjoy making videos and uploading them. It's fun to have little comment threads going on with the followers. So I do enjoy doing that, and I definitely want to continue to make videos and have those interactions with you guys because I think they're important. Not only to help foster community, but foster the love for Tolkien's Legendarium. So, 2021 for the Tolkien Fanatic channel. Well, I'm just gonna hop right into the channel itself, and then I'm probably gonna fall into like what I've done to help push the channel along. So, my first video I posted was actually on the 24th of March, and that was just a preview for the Ringo South 2021. Unfortunately, Ringo South 2020 was canceled because of stupidity that we all know about already. Um, so we pushed forward, Dan, Joe, and I, in looking and doing Ringo South 2021. I believe it was our 5-year anniversary of doing it. Unfortunately, it ended up just being a solo act, which was myself, which is sad because 2019 was really fun. We had, I think, about 20 something people show up. We ran a 2-day 500, or not 500, I'm sorry, 2-day 5-round 800 point, I think it was, event. Might have been 750, I can't remember exactly. In Concord area at the Embassy Suites. And it was a great event. It was really cool. So that we were looking to move forward with that this year. This year. And unfortunately, life kind of got in the way. Not in a bad way, of course. Dan is actually just recently married, so congratulations, Dan. He got married this weekend. I'm sorry, not this weekend. This month in December. And one of the reasons why he wasn't able to assist for RGS this year was because he actually moved to Raleigh, which is 3 hours away from the Charlotte area where we're based. So kind of hard for someone to help support when they're 3 hours away. Now, that being said, he did definitely lend emotional support as well as, bouncing ideas off of, but physically being there to, talk things over is definitely better than having a Facebook chat. But he did help where he could. Joe, on the other hand, was inundated with so much work. He works in the grocery industry right now, and with people just deciding not to work, that he was working 60 plus hour weeks constantly. It was nothing for him to pull a double and go home at 1 a.m. just to get up and be back by 6 a.m. So he definitely had to take a step aside. So it went from being a big 2-day event to a 1-day event. We talked about Ringo South, the three of us did. I'll leave a link on our parent channel, our LTR SBG team. We talked about it amongst the three of us. It was a fun event though. But my first video was just going over the event packet, which I wrote for that event. And, from there I kind of had the idea, let's kind of run with this. So I had gone to an event earlier in March, and it was the Sandhills Ruin in Fayetteville, which is about 3 hours east of Charlotte. And so I did a review. I just talked about how my games went and the players I played against, and it didn't hurt that I won that event, which was great. I took Corsairs at Umbar and had a three major victories in the 3 rounds. So that didn't hurt. I'm not going to cover too much into it because some of these I actually made videos of, and I'll highlight them. But yeah, so from there I did that, and as of this recording, I'm sitting at 109 videos uploaded. This will be the 110th, and then I have, again at this recording, 244 subscribers. So for those of you guys out there that have subscribed and put up with my shitty technology and all that throughout the year, I mean, just hats off to you guys. It's awesome. I really appreciate y'all subscribing. That being said, if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. The analytics prove that only 43% of viewers are subscribers. That means 57% of people who watch these videos are not subscribed. So like I said, if I'm at 244 subscribers, just half of that's 122. You could bump me up to 366 overnight just by smashing that like button. So I'm sorry, not that like button. See, this is probably why you're not subscribed, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But by smashing that subscribe button really helps me out. And of course, also smashing the like button. So, give me a hand, help me out, tell me what you want to see, tell me what you want to hear about, and we'll talk. I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy having these little chats in the comment threads. I learned a lot when I did my the Rangers, when I did my video breakdown for the Rangers. I learned a lot about the lore because, actually, no, it wasn't the Rangers, it was Arnor. Yeah, that's it, it was Arnor. Because one of the subscribers left me several messages all about the lore behind it. Some of it, which I knew, but some of it was great to, refresh on or learn and be like, oh yeah, that's how that's connected there, I mean, he even gave me a reason for why why he thought that the courage value of Warriors of Arnor was so low. And I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense for why it is so low. I mean, I'm not going to get into the details because I think you should go check it out yourself and read what he had to say. I mean, that's huge. I mean, this gentleman took the time to, write out this well thought out description, and tell us, facts, straight from the books. And it's like, okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, everything's at your fingertips now with Google, which is annoying. But I really appreciated the fact that he took the time to do that. To me, it's better to talk to somebody and learn something that way than it is to just go, oh, what does it say on Google? You can tell where my thoughts stand on Google right there. But, it's fun to do that. So, of my videos that I've made, the 109, this being the 110th, 8 of them were Lord of the Rings Online. 14 of them were Battle for Middle-earth 2. 8 of them were the Return of the King video game on the GameCube. I had one lore video, which I'm very proud of because that took me a hell of a lot of time to make. Just editing some of the stuff together was supremely annoying, to say the least. And then the rest are MESBG. I may be off a little bit in my counts. I tried to count through everything, but I know for the most part I put all my Lotro, Battle for Middle-earth, and the Return of the King video game in the same playlist. So all I had to do was go check those playlists and be like, oh, okay, so there's 8 in this one and 14 in that one. And oh, yeah, I did do that one lore video. Hey, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'll leave a link. I think it's a really great lore video. But since the rest are MESBG related, I'm going to go ahead and take some time to talk about that. So I already talked about Sandhills Ruin in March. I actually ran a 1,000 point event in February called the Battle of Great Armies, which was themed around the Return of the King movie, specifically the Battle of Pelennor Fields. But I got the name from Gandalf's moment where he's talking with Pippin as they're overlooking the Pelennor off into Mordor and saying, we come to it at last, the great battle of our time. And I was like, oh, that's a great name for an event, especially if you have a big event. So for those who are not familiar with MESBG, 1,000 points is huge. Most games range from the 5 to 800 rank area, and 1,000 is it's becoming slightly more popular. I will say, after running it and playing it a few times, not a big fan of it. Games just tend to take way too long, and armies just end up being way too bloated. I've actually found that the lower points range, 500-600, is more fun because you can knock a game out in an hour and a half or so and get in another game. You know, you and your buddy come over, you get into combat and kick each other's asses real quick early on. A game takes 30 minutes. Okay, we'll reset the board, play a different scenario, and go again. So that's just my thought. I do like 1,000-point events. Though. It's cool to be able to bring out one of those big beat stick heroes that you usually never see, like a Sauron. So that was February. That was the first event of the year I ran. I actually ran 3 events this year. I already talked about Ringo South in June. That was my second event that I basically ended up soloing. That was an 800 point event. So again, in that higher end of the range for points. May, I went to Of Wolves and Shattered Shields in Gainesville in Virginia. I didn't do bad. I won 2 and lost 1. I already talked about this in another video. Go check that out. I'll just kind of quick synopsis. But unfortunately, my wins were only minors and my loss was a major. So I didn't score very highly. I actually scored out of, I think it was 20 players, and I scored 10. So right there in the middle. So there you go. Just because you win 2 and lose 1 doesn't mean you're going to be high up there in the pecking order. But I took Lurtz's scouts to that event, and they were fun army. I definitely lost my first game, which was my major loss. It was a well-earned loss. I screwed it up really badly. Of course, I was going into that game with 1 practice game, and that was against Joe, which ended up being a draw. So the other 2, I squeaked them out. It wasn't one of those ones where it was like, yeah, you know, I was kicking your butt the whole time. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm going to try and eke this out here at the end if I can do so, which I was able to do. So I'm happy for that. Because a win's a win. Nothing wrong with a win. Lost my train of thought there for a second. That happens too. That's probably why I'm only 43% subscribers. I think the actual number is like 42.7. So come on, guys. Hit that subscribe button. But yeah, I talked about that, my trip at that on a review video. So go check it out for full details. June was Ringo South, like I said. And then the following weekend in June, I actually went to the Atlantic City Open up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. 700-point event. And I will say that was the biggest mistake of my life. Not going to the event, that was fun. The mistake was driving. Oh my God. If you're a northern person and you're listening to this, I got nothing against y'all, but none of y'all fuckers know how to drive. Like, there's actually supposed to be space between you and the car in front of you, okay? Like, being on someone's tailgate, you know, there's a reason you don't do it. There were about 16 damn wrecks from Southern Virginia all the way up to Atlantic City. A drive that should have taken 10 and a half hours ended up taking like 16. So if I go again, which I would like to, because it was really fun going up there to Atlantic City, I'll definitely fly. But that was a 700-point event. I brought the Dunland Legendary Legion. It was my first time actually taking Dunland out to an event. I've done a few games with Joe, again on the LTRSBG team page, where we play the narrative scenarios in the Warren Rohan campaign. And they did pretty good in those scenarios. Unfortunately, they did not do so good for me in this event because I won 1 and lost 2. The 2 losses, though, were pretty close. The very first round, I ended up losing literally on the last turn. It literally swung from being like a 8-2 major victory for me to like a 9-1 major loss. So crazy how little shit can just swing and go completely against you on the last turn of a game. But it was a good game. And the second game was the same thing. I mean, like, it was one of those scenarios where you're just trying to kill your enemy. And it's like, I'm winning, I'm killing. And then in like 2 turns, I went from killing everything to everything of mine is dying. And I'm killing nothing. And I lost that game too. So it happens. It was fun. I enjoy going up there. Very expensive. Very time-consuming with the drive. Thankfully, the drive home was a hell of a lot better than the drive up there. But it was definitely a fun time. So July was my third and final event for the year that I ran, and that was just a local one. It was a Riddles in the Dark. There had been some talk about between a few of us about going and doing like an overseas event, and so we were thinking about trying to get a team together to practice and play for that. And that's kind of why this we ran this little event, and I ended up getting second at that. I played /TO. There was only like 8 of us. I think there's 7. We would have had 8, but somebody dropped out last minute. So I played 2 games, and we took an average of my 2 scores and rounded that up, which everyone was cool with. I was like, that's cool. But I took Numenor, which was actually an army I finished this year in like January, February. Really fun army. It's kind of like it's basically Minas Tirith without all the extra gobbledygook, because Minas Tirith is a super fleshed out army now. Like there's so much stuff to Minas Tirith, where some of the great things that Minas Tirith has, Numenor has, such as pretty cheap troops. Unfortunately, the downside to Numenor is that they aren't as fleshed out. So you have 1 troop option and 3 hero options, and 1 who has been named and not released. I'm looking at you, Anarian. What the fuck, G-Dub? So that was fun. I had fun with that. Let's see. August, there was the Game Kastle opening event. There's a new game store that opened in Greenville, South Carolina, which is about a little over an hour and a half from my house. So I went to that, and it was a 750-point event. I took the Rangers of Ithilien Legendary Legion with the new nerf that they put on it, which I talked about that as well with Dan and Joe in another highlight, in another video that we reviewed, because all 3 of us went. So I'm not going to get into that, but feel free to check that out. I did go 3-0 and took home first place in that one as well, lucky for me. And then the final thing that I've done this year, I guess publicly, was Misty Mountains Mayhem in Hendersonville, which is about an hour and a half west of where I live in North Carolina. So all these great events and stuff that go on in North Carolina. I got Fayetteville out east, Hendersonville out west, Greenville's southwest of me. Unfortunately, the Charlotte community has died a lot in the last couple of years. We've had several people move out of the state. We've had several people who have quit the game. Several people who've just literally stopped contacting anybody and everybody. Like, we literally have 2 guys that have fallen off the face of the earth, and we have no damn idea how to get in touch with them or where the hell they are. So one guy has literally deleted every social media account, and his phone number is blocked, so we can't figure him out. The other guy, sometimes he responds to our comments when we message him on Facebook, but the only way we know that he's quote-unquote responding is because it shows that he's seen the message, but he never replies back. So miss those guys. Sucks that that's what they want to do, but hey, I mean, everybody's got to make their choices in life, and I respect what they want to do. That's they're tired of the game. Hey, go for it. I mean, that's kind of where I am, to be completely honest. I'm definitely taking a hiatus from MESBG right now. Definitely lost that drive and that burn. Used to be a really great community. Still pretty good. Not saying that it's bad, but there's just been a lot of bad eggs that have unfortunately come in, and really just a lot of whining and babyism. It's like, oh, this should be this way, this should be that way, this is what I think. It's like, well, that's great that that's what you think, but that's either A, not what GW thinks, or B, and more importantly, not what Tolkien thinks, because the game is based on Tolkien's Legendarium. This ain't Narnia or Game of Thrones. This is Tolkien's Legendarium. It's actually completed, unlike Game of Thrones. Shots fired. But anyway, back on topic. The Misty Mountains Mayhem was an 800-point event. It was not a good showing for me. I went 1-2. I took Iron Hills Army of Thor Alliance. I thought it would be competitive. I actually didn't talk about that event at all, so I'll go ahead and take a couple minutes and just kind of run through it. Basically, it was Thor with a bunch of those upgraded Grimhammer guys. Dane with Iron Hills Warriors, and then the Ballista. Iron Hills Ballista. That was my only shooting. I figured I have this big shooty thingy. Uh, I may get one or two shots with it because dwarves, you want to be in your opponent's face quickly. You don't have a lot of mobility, so you're not taking your time trying to kite around your opponent. You're trying to basically deploy on the line and just go smash. So with the Iron Hills Ballista, you can deploy back for maybe, a turn or two's worth of movement at best, at most. Because then you're going to take the Ballista and try and not so much kill things, but use it to be anti-shooting to your opponent, as well as just a movement disruptor for your opponent, which is key. Round one, I got one shot off with it, but the scenario screwed me over hard. Wasn't really much I could do. It was one of those ones where it's kind of like a maelstrom deployment. You're deploying in alternating corners. I can't remember what the scenario is called off the top of my head, but there's like 3 objectives in the middle, and you're trying to go get them, and the middle one's worth more, and the outer 2 are worth less, and you control them like domination style by being within a bubble. So that already was screwing me over hard because dwarves don't like movement, and I didn't want to waste might with Dane to march. So it took me literally all game to get Dane across the board. My opponent played smart. He had a lot of movement in his army and just used that to come and overwhelm Thror and the Grimhammer upgraded guys. I don't know what their names are. I can't think of it. Guards of the King, I think. That were basically my line of defense. I got one shot off. He marched and was on top of the second turn and engaging the crew. So I think my second shot I took with half crew. So I could have only hit on a natural 6. So that didn't help. And even my first shot that did hit really did not do a lot of wounds. It never fails in me with Iron Hills Ballista. You got this big strength 8, strength 9, strength 10 thing coming down and hitting something. You need 3s to wound it, and every single time I roll a 1. And then the scatter, I'll just roll 1s and 2s. So they don't really work out for me. It was good because it did disrupt some of his movement that was trying to come across the board to overwhelm. And that's probably one of the few things that allowed Thror and his guys to stand for a few more turns, is because I kind of disrupted his movement for a turn or 2 with it. But I ended up taking a major loss for that. And then the second round was another objective-based scenario with like capturing control. And I was doing good. Actually, really good. I was playing against Rohan, which is one of my favorite armies, and kind of a different. It was the Riders of Théoden LL, but kind of a different build. Not one that I take and not one that I like, which is to include gambling in the banner, because I've talked about it before in other videos. I haven't done a Rohan video for this channel, but I probably need to, because my thoughts on gambling is for a few more points, I can get 2 heroes, and one of them's got Fight 5 and Strike, and have 6 base points of might that I can use 2 in a turn for, as opposed to 3 points, and one random person gets a point of might back every turn. I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, you win fights. You win by having more dice in a fight. I mean, yeah, fight value is important. Don't get me wrong. I'm never going to say that, but I'm never not going to say that. But if you only have 2 dice in a fight and you need a 6 to win, and your opponent can stack 13 dice against you, the odds are much greater for him to get a 6 than it is for you on 2. So that's just my thoughts, which is, again, why I don't like gambling. But that was a game where, again, I was doing great. Thror and the Grimhammers wrecked. I mean, I killed Théoden in one turn with Thror and a few Grimhammers because I did a slingshot off of one rider with like 3 Grimhammers and Thror right into Théoden, who hadn't struck up. He had done a combat, as had I, and I got lucky enough to win the heroic combat roll-off and roll into Théoden and throw with like 10 dice to 6, which he can't do anything about because Thror's fight 6 and Théoden's only fight 5. And then proceeded to kill him. So that was cool. And I was winning most of the game. At least it felt like I was winning because I was killing things left or right. And then the game ended and I had lost. I think the thing that actually did it for him is, even though he took gambling, he only his only other hero was Théoden and Aylmer. So only had 3 heroes. I think he had a King's Huntsman too. So maybe he wasn't taking the Legendary Legion. I guess he wasn't. I guess he was just playing straight up Rohan because he had a King's Huntsman. So blame my last on that. He definitely was not playing the Legendary Legion. But yeah, he ended up winning, and I was like, oh well, whatever, no big deal. So I was actually playing for the Wooden Spoon against my good buddy Mike, and Mike was totally not there because he had just driven up from Florida that morning just to go with us from another vacation he was on with his wife. So he ended up just kind of giving me the game. But he was happy to get the Wooden Spoon. He wanted the Wooden Spoon, so hey, that's cool. But yeah, that was my last event, like, publicly, when it came to doing like MESBG. I actually did a number of the battle reports in and around that time, and I had a couple good friends come down and do the battle reports. That one of them is very popular. It's the Last Alliance against Sauron, so I'll probably leave a link to that as well. I'm going to try and leave a link to my top viewed videos, as well as everything else I've said so far. I'm sitting here trying to like frantically write, okay, so what did I said? I have to leave a link for that. I got to leave a link for that. And I'll do the typical fail-safe thing where it's like, yeah, I'll remember to go back there and look up these links, and I will not do that. So they will probably at least 1 or 2 things not get included that I said I would include. But other than that, I actually ran a few armies this year. Numenor I already talked about. Lurtz's Scouts. Garrison of Dale. I had started that one a while ago, at least a couple years ago. And I think I talked about that too when I did my Garrison of Dale video. But I finally finished it this year because with the new Dale guys being released, there was like this whole push for everybody wanted Dale, everybody wanted Dale. And I actually bought the new guys, and I put them together, and they sat on my table for about a month and a half, and I just could never bring myself to paint them. Not anything against them. It's just that when I think of Dale, I think of pre-Smaug Dale. So I know King Brand and what is it, Bard the Third or Bard the Second or whatever Bard he is are like huge guys, and the new Knights are really cool, and they've got a nice special ability. I think it's now made spears completely broken because now everybody's going to do exactly like I said in Wine, that all the spears should have the +1 to wound when they're charged. But I just think Dale looks cooler in a horde with a bunch of captains and Girion leading the way. Or allied with Army of Thror, which I did a battle report for as well with Joe, and he played Hunter Orcs, Azog's Hunters. So that's just me. But I did do that. And then I also did Dead of Dunharrow. I painted up this year as well. And I only played them in one game. That was for one battle report. I actually had an idea of taking them to an event at one point, and unfortunately, the event that I had seen them in that I thought was cool was the Game Kastle event in August, and I think that was the beginning of August, and then the October one, the Misty Mountains Mayhem, was the beginning of October. And I just didn't feel like taking them to that. I actually didn't know what the heck I wanted to take. I had already kind of gone into my MESBG slump at that point and didn't know what I wanted to play or what I wanted to take and all that kind of good jazz. So I was at that point, and I just lost my train of thought again. Damn it, why do I keep losing my train of thought? This is not good. I'm too young to be having amnesia. Yeah, so I only ended up playing the Dead and Unharrow in one event. Or not one event, one game. Which is too bad, because they're a cool army. There is a 600-point event coming up in January that I might take them to, if I go to it. But, yeah. So what's coming up for the channel and for me going into 2022, you may ask? And I said, that's cool. That's a good question. Like I said, I've kind of gotten a little slack on putting content out there, and I do apologize because, as I've also said, you know, interests change, new hobbies come, something's got to give. My intention is that I would like to get, so I have 110 videos. I'd like to double that for 2022. And my thought process is that I take a month, and throughout the month, I record videos. Just kind of like I was doing in my heyday when I was releasing, like, there's a point there in November and October where I was releasing 2 or 3 videos a week. And I feel bad that I haven't really released anything in the last several weeks. But life has come. Life is more important. Like I said, I did start a new hobby for like the 4th time I've said now. And this one's just kind of turned to the back burner. MESBG and Tolkien is just kind of turned to the back burner for right now. I don't think you ever really quit liking Tolkien's Legendarium. You just, sometimes you take a break from it. There's probably somebody out there right now gasping at me in shock, like, how dare you take a break? But, you know, your priorities and your interests shift as days go by. There's things that, it's just like food. You grow up loving some food, some one food item, I don't know, pizza. And then you love it. And then one day you pick up a slice of pizza and you're like, you know what? I really don't like this. And it happens. That being said, I'm not saying that I don't like Tolkien Legendarium. I'm just saying I like a break. This is why pizza should only be eaten once in a while. So that way it can taste good every single time. That, if you eat too much of it, you end up fat like I am. But yes, my plan is to release more videos. They're coming, I promise. Do help me out. Leave comments. Let me know what you want to see. The easiest way for me to come up with a video topic is to just look at a comment that somebody left and go, okay, I'll do that. They want to see this? Cool, I can do that. Because it's a hell of a lot easier for me to just give you something you already want than it is for me to guess. What do those 244 subscribers, it should be more to the 53% of you, or 57% of you not subscribed, what do they want to hear about today? So yeah, give me some help. And for everybody who has given ideas, I greatly appreciate it. I would love to extend an invitation to anybody who wants to travel and stay a night or more and get in a couple games so I can do battle reports. I really appreciated Mike and Richie and Josh taking the time to travel from their homes, which is not like a, hey, I'm coming for the day type thing. It is definitely a, hey, I'm coming for the weekend type thing. But I'd like to invite more people. Anybody who's watching this who enjoys, MESBG and wants to come kick my ass, by all means, just let me know. I'm down for it. I love throwing lots of 1s and 2s, so I'm always down for an opportunity to show that I can do that. And then, like I said, there's an event in January that I'm contemplating going to. It's more of a work thing at this point than anything because with us being off 2 weekends in a row here because of the holidays, I'm expecting them to want us to work the next 2 weeks straight. So yeah, it'll suck, but great on the paycheck, and my new hobby is extremely expensive. So I can use all the money I can get. And then I am doing another 1,000 point event in February. I'm actually doing it on, it's not the exact same day because of the fact that the calendar moves forward a day every year, or back a day, whatever. whichever one it is. But it's going to be in February again on the same weekend as this year. And it's not going to be the Battle of Great Armies. It's going to be the Battle of... Yeah. Wait, it is? It is the Battle of Great Armies. Yeah. My bad. Yeah, the Battle of Great Armies is this February. Oh, man. What did I say was for last February? I have it written down, but I think I wrote it down wrong. Hold on. Battle of Great Armies. Yeah, Battle of Great Armies is next year. Oh, Great Battle of the Carolinas. That's what it was in February this year. Yeah, Great Battle of the Carolinas. Because it was the Great Battle of our time. Yeah, there we go. So it is going to be the Battle of Great Armies, which is a playoff of the Battle of 5 Armies. And so there's definitely going to be more than 5 people there. That's why it's Great Armies, because it's another 1,000-point event. Oh, excuse me. Ooh, dinner coming back up. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking at. All right, I've been rambling on for 36 damn minutes. That's way too long. I do apologize for anybody who's stuck around this long. Yay! But I'm gonna go ahead and just end it here for the talk section, and I'm gonna grab my camera up and take a look at the armies that I painted this year and just kind of show you what they look like. It won't take long. Maybe give you a rundown of my collection and, well, what's left. I've actually sold off a number of armies this year. That Corsair army I won the event with, gone. That Dunland army that I got my ass kicked with, gone. My favorite army, which is Rohan, it's gone. I actually don't have a lot of armies left. More than some, but not as many as I used to. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and flip over to that, and I will see you guys later. Hey there guys, so I am definitely well behind on doing this video because I recorded the first part, which was the audio, on like the 31st, New Year's Eve, and now it's like the 2nd, and this video probably won't even come out till the 3rd. But like I said, I was going to show you the armies I worked on this year. So these are my 2 display cases. As you can see, I got like some Star Wars Legos in there too, because Star Wars Legos was my shit as a kid growing up, and I found the boxes and I've been pulling them out. But the first army I worked on this year was Numenor. And as you can see there, I have my entire Numenorian army. The only guy that kind of needs to be worked on, I think I have a brand new one of him. What I'm going to do is my foot version of Elendil. As you can see, I did blues and grays on the Numenorians. Well, it's a dark blue color for the cloak. But my Elendil is red, white, and black. But I did do a conversion for a mounted Elendil. As you can see, basically all I did was take a metal Aragorn, what was it, the big Aragorn, Elisar, there we go, Aragorn Elisar, cut the head off and do a head swap with a foot version of Elendil. And I still think I do have another foot version of Elendil. So I did that. That was cool. Then a couple of guys I did a few heroes. I did these 6 mounted Rivendell Knights this year to finish off my Rivendell army, because I actually did a last alliance with Numenor for one of the battle reports. And then I worked on these Dwarven heroes. And nothing amazing, but I did do them. They don't look, like I said, super great compared to some. But I did knock out Thor, Thrain, young Thorin, young Dwalin here, and a Grimhammer Captain. Let's see, what else? Nothing else over here. So let's switch over to this other one. I think over here, the only really thing I got is my Warriors of Dale. Don't mind this egg. It was a gift, or whatever you call it. It was willed to my wife when her grandmother passed away. But it's pretty cool, actually. I'll show it to you. It's actually an ostrich egg. I know you guys probably don't care, but a little something different. But I finished this Army of Dale this year. I had some of them started a while back, but I finished them. And I actually have one more captain I just picked up about a month ago that I want to do. So then I'll have Gearion and 3 captains, and that should be enough. I don't plan on playing them at anything bigger than probably 500 points pure. So this is more than enough. And then I did my Army of the Dead As you can see going back here, 3 riders, bunch of warriors with spears and shields, King of the Dead there, a couple heralds, and a banner. And then I also did this Lurtz's Scouts army. So it was Lurtz and Ugluk, Mahur, Captain. Actually did paint up that Saruman and Grima. There's a couple other guys. I think that's the new Grizhnak and Snaga. And then just a whole bunch of other guys as well. And a few crossbowmen that I did, I think at the end of last year into this year. But yeah, so that's my armies. Don't mind the Khan guys, I'm getting rid of them. Got a few other ones up here, but nothing that I painted this year. This is basically my fiefdoms with some rangers and stuff, and then that's Minister through my rangers army. So yeah, those are the armies I did this year. Numenor, a few elves, a few dwarves, and then Dale, Lurtz's Scouts, and Army of the Dead, Dunhara. And yeah, that was everything. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Please help me out, like, share, subscribe. Give me some comments on what you want to see. I don't plan on releasing another video until February. Like I said earlier in this video, my goal is to actually take 1 month and in my free time do a video, do a lore, or not a lore, but like an army review video here or there, do some scenario breakdown videos here or there, do some Battle for Middle-earth, some Lotro here and there, and then just upload them and have them all come out during the month of February. So if there's anything specifically you'd like to see, leave a comment on this video or any other videos that you watch. It'll help me out, it'll help you out, and it'll be fun. So take care, guys. Enjoy your 2022 hobbying and all your other exploits. And until next time, enjoy your Tolkien Legendarium.